Well, hi there, and we're going to get the action started for you right away. We've got Cubs and Cardinals for you here. Again, on April 23rd, 1949, Andy Pafko comes up to open it up and hits a double leading off, which is a very, very good piece of news for the Chicago Cubs, who've been playing horribly so far in this 1949 season. This 1949 Chicago Cubs, I have to say, are one of the worst offensive teams I think I've ever seen. Jeffco comes over, hits a quick ground ball. That was a ground ball to shortstop. Pafko goes to third on this, despite the play being in front of him. But Marion throws to first, and just like that, the Cubs have a runner on third base with only one out. With Peanuts Lowry coming up, we're going to play the infield back because I don't think that we care so much about the potential first inning run. 2-0 pitch now on Peanuts, and he chops that one over to home. We're going to throw to the plate. Let's see if we can get Andy. Yep, we get Andy Pafko out of the plate. The announcer here in game says it looks a little bit high. I mean, we can't tell. All we can do is see it in our mind's eye. Cavaretta back up, Phil Cavaretta, and he yanks one foul at first base. Kind of a shame there for the Cubs as Cavaretta pops that one up to end the inning. Shame there for the Cubs, who finally have a scoring opportunity. They haven't had very many of those so far this season. They haven't even been close to winning games, and they're playing against the Cardinals, who have one of the better offenses that I think I've ever seen. 2-2 now on Enos Slaughter. And now it's a full count on Slaughter. Slaughter, of course, had been a hero by this point for his heroics in the seventh game of the 1946 World Series as he pops that one off to center field, racing mad around the bases. 2-0 now to Kazakh, and now it's 0-3. Now, here's the question people always have. Do you need to take the pitch or not when you have an 0-3 count, or I'm sorry, 3-0 count? You do not need to. If you just swing away, he will likely take it if it's a ball, as Kazakh did there. And here comes Stan the Man Usual. And any sort of walk against these Cardinals can be a problem. One strike pitch now on Musial, and he hits a double play ball, but is able to beat it out in the end. That brings up Nippy Jones. Nippy Jones here, and I don't know what things are like for you where you're at, and we've got a nippy day here in my part of the world. We had snow overnight. There was a ball ripped down the right field line by Jones, who gets only a single out of it. Probably hit that ball a little bit too hard. I love how the play-by-play here says, now we've got some action, as if we didn't have action before. Of course, we've had a lot of action in this game already. It's just a normal single, maybe a loud single, but a normal single. 2 outs now, runners first and second. Chuck Deering comes up and takes a strike, 1-1 on him, and now it's 1-2. And that one's bounced off the catcher foul, and there's a ball on the edge of the plate. Give us that dialogue again, talking about how he's laughing about that being called a strike. He grounds out to first base, and that's that. Now, Emil Verban comes up at the top of the second for the Cubs, takes a strike, and there's a little fly ball, nothing doing. This is what I'm talking about when I say that these Cubs are bad, because you start getting through the order, and you're like, where are your hits going to come from, Frankie Gustin, maybe. Oh, he does. He gets on an error. Okay, now we'll see if Rube Walker has anything to do about it. Rube Walker 0 for 9 so far this season, and 0 for 10 after blooping that one up to center. And just like that, there are 2 outs. And we're probably looking towards the bottom of the second inning. That's what it's been like playing with these Cubs. Base hit, though, there for Roy Smalley, so there is something going here. Johnny Schmidt's the pitcher up now. Schmidt's pitching on 3 days rest. I could have given him one more day of rest. Decided not to, figuring that it was more realistic this way to keep to the 4 days of rest formula. 0-2 now in Schoendienst. And my goodness, nice play by Peanuts Lowry. So I'll show you something here. I think I showed you this before. This little bit of the play-by-play here comes from Jack Wood's most recent play-by-play update. This is actually not part of the base game of Diamond Mine Baseball. This is a play-by-play update that has to be downloaded from the forums. He includes some of these such and such player is hurt on the play and cannot continue, even though it's not really included in the game. I'm playing with injuries off and with real-life transactions on. The idea here is that at random, players would need to be taken out and substituted, but because it's not really part of the game, the computer manager doesn't know what to do with it. Now, what I could do is I could come in for the computer and say, okay, well, we're going to take Lori out and we're going to put somebody in. I can go over to games and change options, make myself the manager, make the change, and then make the computer the manager again. But that includes a temptation that would come along of me trying to do something to benefit the team I'm managing and not play the game right. And so as a result, instead of doing that, I am ignoring this. I'm ignoring these types of injuries, and instead we're just going to go forward and play the game as if they did not exist. If the computer can't see him, then I can't see him. That's the idea. We do that for fairness, and we do that so that we have a replay that's legitimate and hopefully does not include much bias. I know that I'm managing the home team for every game as Marty Marion walks. 4 straight balls there at the end of that. I know that I'm managing in the end every single team, so I can't really be accused. And there's a ground ball, a double play ground ball that Rice beats out. 2 away now. I can't be accused of having a bias towards one team or another, but I don't want to have a home team win because I did something that would not have happened in real life or goes against the rules of the game just because, I wanted to honor what the play-by-play happens to say. Strike 3 on Howie, and it's not much of a surprise. Andy Pafko now up again after that double. One of the only 3 hits in this ball game. It's been kind of quiet so far. 3-0 to him, and Howie Pollitt got the strike. Pollitt, probably the best Cardinal pitcher here in 1949. 20-game winner in real life. Pafko getting the walk and getting the stolen base and still trying to make something happen. You get this feeling that you have Andy Pafko and, a bunch of players who don't really know what they're doing and don't really know what they're supposed to be doing. That's what the Cubs feel like. He might be able to manufacture a run all on his own here. Got a walk. Stole second to third base on a fly ball and is safe there after really pushing the issue. So it works for Andy. Andy Pafko gets a walk, steals second base, goes to third base on a sacrifice fly, and winds up scoring the first run of the ball game on a weak ground ball hit to shortstop. And just like that, the Cubs are up 1-0. And they're up 1-0, despite having basically nothing in terms of a base hit, nothing in terms of what we would consider to be normal offense. That's the way that it goes sometimes, and that's the way that it's going so far in this game. And what I thought was going to likely be a domination by St. Louis is looking like it might actually end up being another one of those close games. And so it is 3-1 in Cavaretta now, and that one's fouled back. Payoff pitch, full count, and Kozak goes to first. They're 2 away. Here comes Emil Furban again, and we'll see if he can finally get a hit this season, and no, he cannot. And off we are to the bottom of the third inning just like that. Boy, don't you wish it were this fast in real life? You could get through a game. You could get through a multitude of games in absolutely no time at all. And I hope that if you're watching this, no matter where you are, no matter what time it is, that you consider watching maybe 1 or 2 or maybe all of them. I am planning on having one of these uploads every single day. The nice thing about this project is Kazak gets that base hit is that it keeps me honest to make sure that I play every day because I've got to have a video every day, right? And that's the way that we want it to be. Another one of those, there's a lot of these play-by-play snippets here in Diamond Mine that I don't feature that talk about, I thought that the ball hit him, but it hit the bat instead. There's too many of them. Jack, if you're listening, there are too many of them. Take some of them out. That's the thing. There used to be a lot of arguing about calls as well, but not quite as much these days as there once was in Diamond Mine. They've gotten rid of a lot of that. Actually, based on what Jack Wood said, it sounds like Diamond Mine, unfortunately, is not going to continue play-by-play updates, which makes no sense to me. 0-2 on Musial makes a little pop-up to left field, and the Cardinals are not hitting. It doesn't make sense to me that they would not want to continue upgrading the play-by-play since that's the one thing that Diamond Mine does better than any other game. 1-2 on Gustin now. Chops over to the right side. Jones with the sort of emergency play from first base, but it's too little too late to get Gustin, who gets down the line fairly quickly. That brings up Rube Walker again. Catcher Walker, and they run Gustin, and he is thrown out at second base trying to steal. This is another one of those computer manager decisions where I think, well, here I can kind of excuse it in a one-run game where you are managing a team that maybe is not expected to win. I could definitely excuse trying to be a little bit aggressive in that case, but still is a little bit early, I think, for that kind of aggression for a guy who's not a great base stealer. A little ground ball by Walker, and then after that we get a little pop fly by Smalley, and that does it for the Cubs. Nothing doing, and you do have to wonder about whether it was worth it to steal that base, or try to, that is. Deering just pops one out to Jeffcoat, and there's one gone, and Schoendienst gets the base hit. And now we have questions about whether we want to steal and want to make something happen. I mean, Schoendienst is the sort of player that you would want to steal with. You're going to see this fair jump rating for just about all of these would-be base stealers. And that's one of the things that sort of gave me some pause, maybe wanted to look. My goodness, and boy, that didn't work out for me at all. So Schoendienst breaks too early trying to steal second, and that's egg on my face. My goodness, that was the wrong decision to make. That was wrong, and St. Louis is likely going to be out of another opportunity. What I was about to say is that you're likely to see a lot of these stolen base or would-be base stealers have fair or poor jump ratings, just simply because there weren't many bases stolen in 1949. In fact, as we continue to play through this and through the 50s, assuming I finally pick up the pace, we're going to see a lot of that, because there was not a lot of base stealing going on in that era at all, and that's a base hit by Schmitz that looks like it kind of just demolishes Roy Smalley there at shortstop. Anybody who tells you that baseball is not a contact sport hasn't played in the infield, I'll tell you that. And here we go again. Marion, not really a threat to steal, and we're not going to do too much running out with 2 outs here in the early parts of this game. We're not going to be quite that aggressive that early here. 1-2 on Rice. He takes the ball high, 2-2 now, and there's a base hit for Rice, and we got runners on first and third, which is good. I'll take base hits wherever I can get them, but with the pitcher due up here, I don't think much is going to happen. 0-1 on him. Paulette fouls one back, 0-2, and he ends up with a base hit that gets right past Cavaretta. We're going to play very, very safe with our runners, who are not very quick. And just like that, it's 1-1, and here come the Cardinals with Enos Slaughter coming up now with 2 outs and 2 on. I spoke too soon once again. You never know what's going to happen with this game. As bad as the hitter might be, it just might be his day, and he might be able to get a hold of a pitch and do something that you weren't expecting. Enos Slaughter here, and he pops that one up. Ooh, and there's no communication by the Cubs. Poor fielding once again, and he winds up with a blue base hit out of it. This, if you've been following the blog, you know that this is not the first time that the Cubs this season have had poor communication in the field and have wound up giving up base hits or errors or runs when they didn't need to. And that looked bad, and we'll see if Eddie Kozak here can really, really make them suffer for it. Kozak takes the ball low. And ground ball to short to Smalley, and that does it. Bases were loaded for the Cardinals, and they cannot capitalize. And there's a little ground ball by Schmitz, one away. And here comes Andy Pafko again, 1 for 1 today with that walk and with that manufactured run. Ground ball to third, though, nothing going for him. And Jeffcoat comes up next and promptly lines a 2-out base hit. And here comes Peanuts Lowry again. So Peanuts Lowry gets the little ground ball to third base. They get the force at second, and down to the bottom of the 5th we go. And Musial beats one out here, starting up the bottom of the 5th inning. Smalley makes the play at short, but he can't beat Musial for his speed. Once again, up comes the question as to whether we want to hit and run or not. I think we're going to try it here in a 1-1 game, bottom of the 5th inning. Let's see what happens. Hitting and running, and that did exactly what we wanted it to. Jones bounced it to Smalley. Normally a double play ball, but they can't get Musial coming down the line hard at second. They get the basic out at first, and up comes Chuck Deering in a scoring position with the Musial in scoring position. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 0-2 now the count on Chuck. And Chuck barely gets away with that check swing. The truth is that in real life in this era, for the most part, check swings would be called strikes called at the plate. The art of checking your swing and everybody looking down the third or first base line really didn't become sort of a fad until the late 70s, early 80s. And it's gotten to the point nowadays where it looks like just about everything's a ball. Part of that has to do with the bat and how it's constructed these days. It's a lot easier to control it and hold it back when you have a paper-thin handle. Not like the bats in the late 40s, and nothing like those big old bats they used to use back in the real old days, 1900s, 1890s, and so on. You want to learn more about that, go to the Hall of Fame. Full count on Deering, and he strikes out. Red Schoendienst comes up next, and we'll see what happens here. There is some speed at second and usual, but you have to actually hit the ball to do something with it. And 2-1 is now the pitch on Red, or the count on Red, and he just flies one out to Lowry, and up to the top of the sixth we go. Cavaretta up now, Phil Cavaretta, 1-1 the pitch after he swings through that one. Lines him out to center field, nothing doing. Howie's been pitching well for St. Louis as he gets a strike, and Verban has another fly ball to center field and another out. He's been pitching quite well for St. Louis and quite well in this ball game. A little bit of poor luck that he had that walk to Andy Pafko, the only walk he's given up all game, and Pafko promptly stole second base and made something happen on his own. Of course, as soon as I mentioned that, Gustin comes up with a walk of his own, and here comes Rube Walker again, and the Cubs need Walker to actually hit the ball. I mean, he's just been playing poorly. 0-2 the pitch now. And did you see that? Gustin with the attempt to steal, which is very ill-advised. And what do? I throw to first base, and Gustin's able to move up to second. So it's all about those inches and those decisions that you make suddenly spur of the moment, thinking that he's going to go. And guess what happens after that error? We see a base hit. Base hit from Walker, his first hit of the season. And just like that, it's Cubs 2, Cardinals 1. Well, this was not that simple and, predictable game that I thought it was going to be, was it? And just like that, the Cubs have something cooking here. 2-1 the score. Runner on first base, rather, with one away. And 1-0 the pitch now to Roy Smalley. 2-0 now. 3-0, and Howie's starting to lose that control that I was just talking about. 2 walks in the game, no strikeouts. 3-1 now, and now it's a full count. And let's see if he gets his man. Smalley strikes out swinging. He does. Very well done by Howie. And the Cubs have made some substitutions already, putting Gene Mauch in there at second base. Yes, this is the Gene Mauch for part of his very, very short playing career. I think that 49 was the longest, the most that he played in his career, if I remember right. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, I might be. And Emil Kush comes on out to pitch for Chicago. And here comes Marty Marion again. And the 0-1 pitch to him, and it's a quick roller on the side of the mound, and nothing going there, and that's one away, and up comes Del Rice. Takes the ball and takes another ball, and that one's in there for a strike. And it's ball 3 now, and Rice 3-1 the pitch, full count again. We've had quite a share of full counts here so far in this game. And Rice strikes out. You never know really what the actual sort of proportion of full counts would have been in real life in 1949. We don't have enough data. We have some pitch-by-pitch data from the World Series and some from the Brooklyn Dodgers. In some games, they did keep track of pitch-by-pitch data, but it's not much. You can find it on Baseball Reference. Whether you can do anything with it or not is another question. And that's a quick fly out by Pollitt, fly to right to center field, and up we are at the top of the 7th. And this game is becoming a little bit late and a little bit more exciting. It would be interesting. I've always thought it would be interesting to look at some of the data we do have for the pitch-by-pitch in the past. And that's a double by Gene Mauch. How about that? And that's a how do you do from Gene Mauch. This is actually his third at-bat of the season, second game of the season. But I guess I must have started him once. But he introduces himself to the St. Louis crowd quite nicely. And Pafko, with his second double of the game, drives in Mauch. And just like that, the Cubs are up 3-1. And this goes to show that you never know what's going to happen in this game. And this is the reason why we do play all the games out instead of simply assuming that the favored team is going to win and going about our business. And this, to be honest with you, is one of the reasons why I strongly recommend for your replay projects, if you've got the time and if you've got the stamina, that you play through all of the games instead of just playing through one team and simming through the rest. Because if you sim through all the games, you can miss some of these good ones. A little ground ball to Marion at short, and Pafko this time decides to do the wise thing and hold the bag. Remember, in the first inning, he didn't. First inning, he decided to run to third, and it paid off, almost paid off. He was thrown out of the plate in the end. 2 outs now, 2 quick outs, and that's sort of the way it goes for the Cubs. 0-2 on Cavaretta, and it takes the ball and is hit by that pitch. Pollitt, a little bit wild, and he gets that pop-up, though, and that does it for that inning. But we do have the one run by the Cubs, 3-1 Cubs as we come to the St. Louis bottom of the 7th inning. 2 quick balls there, and Enos Slaughter. 0-3 now, and let's see if no, it's there's your automatic strike. But Slaughter does take ball 4, and we'll see what happens here. Again, the question is, do you run? Do you swing away? We're going to hit and run. Here's Kazak, and fouls that one down the line. And another foul. And it's, ooh, boy, Slaughter just steals that base. I was about to say it's going to be strike him out, throw him out there, as Kazak has a very poor at-bat. But no, Slaughter does make it. They intentionally walk Stan Musial. So I've gone on and on about the computer manager making this weird decision and that weird decision, but I would have walked Musial there as well. That one makes sense, right? Bottom of the 7th inning, runner on second base, 1 out, 3-1 lead, and the Cardinals have a better team. You better walk the star player, and we'll pitch to Nippy Jones. And on comes Monk Dubel, and he gets a quick strike on that foul ball. Jones lays off a curveball, and now it's 2-1. Runners are moving off, and 2-2 pitch is fouled behind him, and Jones strikes out just like that, and they're 2 away. And that strategy of walking Stan the Man looks like it might pay off. 1-1 pitch now. Quick ground ball to Mock, and the inning is over. Top of the 8th. Gustine now hits a quick foul ball, and then a little pop up to short, and there's 1 away. And here comes Rube Walker. Rube Walker, who just had his first base hit of the season, grounds out weakly to first or to the pitcher, and that's the way that it goes. Clarence Mattern now. Mattern comes up short on that fly ball to left field, and that does it. The game will make it look exciting, right? Oh, he just came up about 6 feet short, and we thought that one might have the distance. Now, I assume that somewhere in the game there is a calculation that is made as to whether the ball was a fly out or a home run, and that's probably what it's referring to. But if you've watched a lot of baseball, you know that you don't want to be following the flight of the ball. You just follow where the fielder goes, and I guarantee that Enos Slaughter had a beat on that from the start. Apologies for the coughing here. My microphone doesn't have a mute button. I do have one here on OBS, but I've forgotten which button on the keyboard it is. I need to have some sort of sign up reminding me of this. Schoendienst thrown out at first base on a controversial call. We're not going to worry too much about that one, though. Let's see if Marion can do something here for us. And lays off the pitch. 1-2 now. 2-2. And full count now. Let's see if we can get this walk. And he earned it, but he swung at ball 4. And now he's earned his walk, and he's over to first. And now you have a question of what to do, right? So the Cardinals so far today, they've committed 2 errors that have led to the Cubs having this 3-1 lead. They have slightly out-hit Chicago, though. And we've had a few base-running blunders that have mostly been my mistake. The question here is, what do we do in this situation, right? Do we try another hit and run, or do we bunt with Rice? Even though we're down by 2 runs, I'm going to bunt with Rice, and the reason why I'm going to bunt with him is because I think it's a little bit safer than the possibility of another one of those strike him out, throw him out situations. And on is the sacrifice, and boy, that was kind of a key sacrifice where if Mattern had made that catch, he could have doubled off Marion and gotten a double play. As it stands, Mattern barely makes that play at first base. Verban coming over to make the putout. This is kind of a crucial play and what I would consider to be a crucial part of the game. The reason why I say that is because there is a chance here if that's a double play, that ends the rally for the Cardinals. As it stands, there's a chance again for Howie Pollitt to help out his own cause. Remember what he did last time, getting the base hit in the first run. We'll see what happens as he takes a strike. And 1-1 now the pitch. Boy, I guess you never would have imagined that going against this awful Cubs pitching staff that the only run of the game for the Cardinals would be batted in by the pitcher. 2-1 now in Pollitt. And he gets a little pop-up and is lucky to that one's not caught. Pollitt close to striking out. Does not strike out that time. And there's Pollitt standing on first base as he gets on because of another one of the Chicago errors. And this is really where poor fielding will kill you. If you have a draft league, if you're looking at how to set up a draft league for any one of these games, I have to say that you need to pay attention to your fielding. You don't want to have fielding like these 1949 Chicago Cubs. This is a bad team from start to finish, the Cubs, and it's only going to give you gray hairs to have plays like that. Here comes Enos Slaughter. Slaughter with a swing can turn this one all the way around. And 1-1 the pitch on him, and there's a base hit for Slaughter. That scores Marion, and of course we are not going to run the pitcher. And up comes Bob Chipman. This is the other thing that you have to pay attention to, and anybody who's a baseball fan knows this. The bullpen's important, and you don't want to be in a position like this where you're pulling in new pitchers almost every other batter because the pitcher you had before wasn't really helpful. Wasn't doing his job. Now, I'll say this too. I've been playing in this replay now for, I don't know how many games it is, 30-something, maybe 40. And while I've been playing it, I have, you can't see the settings here, unfortunately, but I do not have any sort of warm-up option in the bullpen. We can see here if we go to pitchers. I guess I could warm them up, but the warm-up requirement is not turned on. The reason why I don't have that turned on is because there is no way to require the computer manager to warm up the batter. Now, if you look at this and you think, or the pitcher, if you look at this and you think, oh, well, that's because Diamond Mind is such an antiquated game and they didn't think of that back then, you would be wrong. Action PC Baseball also cannot force the computer manager to warm up pitchers before putting them in, and OTP also struggles with this. So, but just so you know, because the computer is not constrained by this rule, I am also not constrained by the rule. We make it fair. There's a foul ball by Kazakh now with runners on first and second. There's a little bit of a wild pitch, but nothing doing. As always, it's not a wild pitch if nobody goes anywhere. 2-1. Now it's ball 3. I'm going to tell him to take this pitch. Let's get Musial on there. And he takes it, and it's a walk. And up comes Stan Musial now, down by 1 run with the bases loaded, and there's nowhere to put him. Now, I do know that in the history of baseball, there have been times in which the hitters have been intentionally walked with the bases loaded. Having said that, it's an extraordinarily rare event, and if that happens here, I'm probably going to faint. I don't think that will happen. Ball 1 to Musial, and that's a grand slam for Stan Musial. Right field, and that blows this game wide open. 5-run bottom of the 8th inning for St. Louis, and, well, what do you know? Those bases on balls will do it every time. Poor fielding, bases on balls, and giving up hits to the pitcher, and next thing you know, Stan Musial's up with the bases loaded and hits a grand slam, and that's going to be likely the end of the shouting for this one. What an amazing game this one has been. What a change of events this one has been. St. Louis now with a 6-3 lead, and it looks like they were always in front, and Nippy Jones gets a base hit, and my next question is, have they batted around? Who started off this inning? It was Schoendienst who started off this inning. He's on deck. 5 runs in the inning for St. Louis, and the hits just keep on coming, and when it rains, it pours. And boy, it's been raining on the Chicago Cubs season, I'll tell you that. They have played poorly this whole season. 1-1 the pitch now 2-1 on Chuck. He dribbles that one foul off the catcher's equipment. Well, I was worried that this game was going to be a blowout. I'm happy that I recorded this for you because this has been a lot of fun. And remember, in Diamond Mind, if you don't record it live, if you don't capture things live, there's no way to go back and get it. You can send somebody maybe a copy of the game log or of the box score, but that's not the same. You know that. Full count now on Deering, and he grounds out to second. And Howie comes out to get that complete game, which I think he's earned. 1-1 now on Gene Mauch, leading off the 9th inning. 2-1 now on him. And a little ground ball to Marion, who gets his man 1 away. Andy Pafko back up again, having a good game, 2 for 3, with the walk and a manufactured run back in the 3rd inning. And there's a little pop-up to Musial, and there's 2 outs now. And Hal Jeffcoat is the last chance for Chicago in this one, and it's 2-1 on him. And that's a foul ball, luckily for Jones. And Jeffcoat has struck out, and thus the game ends. Paulie gets the win, complete game, 9 innings pitched, 7 runs, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. 1-1 on the season now for him, and that's it for this one. Well, I certainly hope that you've enjoyed that one as much as I did. This is probably one of the more fun games I think we've done so far. If you like that, leave a like down below. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're up to, what you're doing, where you're at. I assume you're not going to watch this right when it comes out, but maybe it's a week later, a month later, or a year later. Just let me know where you're at and what you think. And subscribe for more of these. As I've said before, we're going to do it every single day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.